It's been a little while since the last time I sat you down at the fireplace with my bathrobe slightly ajar to tell you an embarrassing story from the period in my life where I've LARPed as a fucking mysterious anime character. This was around the time I was like 18, 19 years old, so like freshman, early sophomore year of college. And I've told many a pathetic story from this sad compendium of miserable social ineptitude. And there's one I haven't shared with you that I thought I'd share today. This was actually the first date I ever went on, like first official date. I'll just give you a brief lore update for those that haven't seen any of the other videos. Back in early college years, I thought it'd be great to reinvent myself as a mysterious anime character in real life. It worked for the anime characters. Girls were always trying to constantly like gobble on their meat. And so I thought, well, if it worked for them, it could work for me. So I wanted to be like super unique. I wanted to wear a chain with my favorite video game disc on it, Psychonauts. So just be like a fucking chain with Psychonauts on it. I also refused to talk to people. So if people talked to me or asked me questions, I'd respond with like moans and grunts instead of words. And it was really goofy shit. Like talking to me would be like talking to an NPC in Banjo-Kazooie where they just respond with that. Like that's how I would pretty much respond to shit, or just complete silence. I have no doubt a lot of people on campus probably reported me to authorities as a potential threat to the university in those early year and a half, however long I spent doing that. But I eventually grew out of it. But during this time, I actually did get a date. My first real official date. Now, while this was my first date, it wasn't like I was a completely kissless virgin. I was a virgin who had been kissed once. It was a dare. A girl was once dared to kiss me because that was seen as such a punishment that in a truth or dare game, they made it a dare to kiss me. And I was like, fuck yeah, this is my time to shine. Probably pre-came and shit my pants at the same time. But anyway, I managed to get this date because a friend of mine from high school actually invited me to a party. We hadn't seen each other in quite some time, and they invited me out to go drink with them. At the time, I was completely straight edge. I didn't want to touch drugs. I didn't want to touch beer. I also wasn't even sure I ever wanted to lose my virginity. I was starting to think it might even be best if I didn't. But they invited me to this party, and I was still in this mysterious anime phase, and he invited me to play beer pong with him, and I was like, well, as long as I don't drink. And he's like, fuck it, Charlie, I'll just drink for you. Just fucking play with me. And I was like, sure, let's go. So we were playing, and then eventually his friends called him to do like a keg stand or something, so I needed a partner, and a girl hopped in to play with me. And I didn't say a fucking word to her. And I guess that must have been cool enough because she started talking to me, and then I eventually like mumbled out like, do you want to go to the beach? And she said yes. She gave me her number, and we set up a beach date for the next day. And my God, I don't even think I slept that night. I remember that night after the party, I went back to the dorm and I was just busting out hundreds of crunches and like bicycle crunches and shit, trying to sculpt out my abs speedrun style. I didn't eat, I only drank a ton of water, just trying desperately to get my six pack to pop out a bit more. I was a lot leaner back then because all I focused on was being like ripped, but my arms were super skinny, so I just kind of looked like an actual poorly drawn anime character physique-wise. Nowadays, I'm just actually fucking jacked, but back then I was like, all I need is abs, and girls will want to fuck me real good. So I'm in my dorm for hours just fucking doing an impromptu P90X routine till the sun comes up. And I text her, she doesn't respond. I start to panic. I texted her again, still didn't respond. I'm fucking freaking out. I'm like, oh my God, I've ruined it. I fucking blew it. Holy shit, it's all over. She hates me. She probably reported me to the police because I was creepy. Oh my fucking God. I text her again. I fucking triple texted her. Literally the worst possible thing you could do. She finally responds just saying she was sleeping, and then I realized that that's probably about par for the course because it was like 9 a.m. I was like, it's fucking like Saturday, and I'm texting her at 9 a.m. like 1,000 times. It stands to reason that she might just be sleeping in. Fucking having a manic episode in the text messages there at 9 a.m. and then she still agrees to meet with me. She's like, yeah, we're still down for the beach. Let's go. So we meet at my car. I play my boner jams, which was a real risk for me because the music I listened to then and the music I still listen to now isn't really popular. It's mainly like metal and shit like that. And luckily, she likes that music. In fact, she even knew some of the bands, like Cybreed. She likes Cybreed, which is still my favorite band right now. So that was cool, but I'd never done small talk or anything. So I didn't know how that was supposed to go. And I think she was picking up on that, so she took the initiative to talk to me. So she asked me, hey, did you have fun at the party last night? I said, nope. Which is a great response because, I mean, that's super cool. Like, hey, this guy is so goddamn badass. He didn't have any fun last night. But I do remember saying the only cool thing about the party was meeting you. I was like, that's kind of suave. So I hit her with that bit of smooth ass cheeks right there, to which she didn't really say anything. At least I don't remember her saying anything. Maybe she had just gotten completely sodden panties and, that's probably what happened. But she continues, standard stuff. What's your major? At the time it was digital arts. This was before I switched. Do you like digital arts? It sounds cool. What is that? And I was like, I fucking hate it. It's just making 3D animations. It sucks. So I'm just constantly doing my best to ruin any kind of positivity. That whole car ride was basically like condensed pessimism on wheels. And so she just keeps asking me these questions, to which I'm giving like the worst responses to imaginable, convinced, like the anime characters I've seen before, that being different or being negative is cool to women, which it's definitely not. But she eventually gets to the dagger. What do you do? Like, she probably assumed I had like a job or something, because she did. So she's like, well, what do you do for work? What do you do? And I was like, can't get into that. It's a secret. Which obviously piqued her interest, because like, what the fuck does that mean? Am I like a CIA spy? Am I a hitman? Assassin? Like, what the fuck is that? She's like, well, what do you mean it's a secret? It's like, I just can't get into that. I can't talk about it. So she keeps poking the sleeping bear. She's like, well, what do you mean? What do you do? Like, it's kind of weird. Like, what do you do? And eventually I'm like, I make videos on the internet. Keep in mind, this is 2013. The idea of being a YouTuber was a foreign concept back then. I'd also never told anyone about this. I never said out loud that I made videos online. I always kept that like my biggest top secret. I never ever talked about it, but in this instance, I was fucking desperate. I was pulling out all the stops. I was emptying my pockets of all the possible fucking spaghetti I could fill on the floor, vomiting anything that might help my chances of getting me laid. I would have told her I was Santa Claus if I thought it would help my chances of getting my cock wet. I was just going all out. Just this once. Just trying. So I told her I make videos on the internet, and she laughed at me, which just felt phenomenal. She thought I was just kidding because I had hyped it up so much to that grand wet fart of a reveal. She was probably just relieved more than anything, because she probably thought I was a psychopath with the way I was answering, but I dropped that nugget of truth on her, and at the time, like I said, this wasn't really anything anyone talked about. Like, YouTuber wasn't a thing back then. Most of the most popular shit was like Facebook pages that people knew. And when it came to YouTubers, most people only knew like the biggest ones. The big one back then that I remember most people talking about was Epic Mealtime. And I also remember even things like I'm Schmacked were kind of big back then. But other than that, there wasn't a ton else that college students would think of when they hear of internet content creator YouTuber. So she didn't really find that all that impressive, and I've never treated it like a job or anything, but I just thought it was going to be a good answer to that question, one that she probably hadn't heard before, and she probably never did hear it before because she just straight laughed at it, which it didn't make me feel like my chances were being helped. She thought that I was just making like a joke out of it because I just made it like this hyped up thing, like, no, it's a big secret. It's a fucking government secret. I'm not allowed to say it. If I say it, the government's gonna come fucking kill me. And then I just reveal like I make fucking gameplay and commentary videos on YouTube. So she giggled at that, and then she asked what the channel was, so I showed it to her when we parked. I brought up the channel, and at the time, the channel video that would autoplay was my titty simulator game, which of course was a kind of weird look, so I bring that up. At the time I had like 800,000 subscribers, which is a fucking ton, and she was impressed by the number, but the content itself I don't think she was too fond of, because it was titty simulator, with me talking about fucking honkin' milkers being dragged around by their nipple, and then some of the other related ones were other weird games like Don't Shit Your Pants and things. So she didn't really want to stay on the channel that long, but she said congratulations to me, and I was like, oh, okay, it didn't really work very well, now did it? So we finally arrive at the beach. Confidence is shot. I can tell that this mysterious anime character facade's not doing me any favors. So we end up just going to like a pretty crowded area on the beach at Clearwater, and just laying down, and she played music with her earbuds in. and I just kind of laid there, pretending like this was productive. Like, yeah, I'd always wanted a tan. I'll just fucking lay here with my ass cheeks hanging out, I guess. Why not? And just fucking sit there doing nothing while she's listening to music at the beach. At the end of it, I just kind of felt like I was an Uber driver who stayed a little too long. Like, she requested a ride, but then I had nothing else to do, so I also just went to the same destination. So we just kind of stayed there for like an hour, and then she's like, all right, I'm ready to head back. I'm kind of hungry. I didn't even bother asking if she wanted to get food with me because I could already just pick up on the vibe here that it wasn't really going anywhere. So we go back, and then she hugged me, and I was like, fuck, it was all worth it. I got a hug. Let's go. Woo! So I got a hug out of it, which means I was a champion that day, but we never talked again, surprisingly. And that's how my first date went. So overall, pretty successful. Got off to a great start, really, in the whole romance world. And yeah, I just wanted to share that with you. I also think it's a pretty interesting look at how things have changed recently. Because back then, YouTuber wasn't even a word in anyone's vernacular. No one had ever really like heard of that before. It wasn't really an explored concept, just kind of like this emerging hobby that some people would pick up on. But nowadays, I think it's like 60% of kids want to grow up to be like a YouTuber or internet creator, which is wild. So in less than a decade, it has completely changed. But back then, yeah, that shit was not looked at too positively. But anyway, I just wanted to share this story because I haven't done this one before, and I thought it was worth sharing. That's about it. See ya. I don't think I've ever shared a story about myself so embarrassing that it changes the way you look at me. I've shared a lot of embarrassing stories with girls and shit that I've had in the past, but nothing that's so goddamn game-changingly cringe-inducing that you vomit and think less of me until today. I was trying to think of a story that I wanted to talk about because I wanted to tell a really embarrassing one today, but I wanted to like amp this shit up to like the highest fucking level I could. So I was going to my past, of which there's a myriad of embarrassing stories to choose, but I wanted to find the perfect one. And then I remembered something that made me sick to my goddamn stomach, so I can't wait to share it with all of you. So to preface this happened in high school. The year is 2011. This was right after my third lung collapse. If you've been following me for a while, you know my lung collapsed 3 times. And the last time it happened was 2011. Well, in 2011, I got surgery to have it fixed. And before I went into surgery, there was a girl I had a crush on that had just added me back on Facebook. And I decided I'd send her like this goddamn scholarly "oorah, I love you" message to her. And we had never spoken. So this girl and I never spoke once in our lives, not even by accident. If I farted somewhere in school, there's no way she would ever fucking smell it because we were never even close to each other in any sense of the word. The only reason we even knew about each other, or rather the only reason I knew about her, was because she was a cheerleader and I played basketball. Other than that, no communication, literally not even eye contact. And yet for some reason, in 2011, I sent this girl the most disgustingly embarrassing messages when I was in the hospital. I haven't read them. I screenshotted them today, and I sent them to myself so I could read them to you today, and we can experience this together as a lesson in how not to ever approach a woman in any way. So allow me, please. Pickup artist legend Charlie is going to guide you through the how-don'ts, the do-nots of women. So let's go ahead and get into these messages here. So ace pussy slaying god Charles in 2011 leads with, I know you and I have never talked, but I just wanted to tell you that you are one of the most beautiful girls I have ever seen. Now, some of you might hear that and think I came on a little too strong. Looking back on it now, hindsight's 2020, I don't think I came on strong enough. I should have led with I love you. Signed, Charles. And then like a little kiss. And then, maybe go from there. So after I said this, she responds with a simple question mark. Nothing else, just one character, a question mark. I was already in the hospital, but if I wasn't, that right there would have sent me to the hospital with fucking cardiac arrest. That shit hurt so goddamn bad at the time. But I mean, what can you expect when someone leads with some shit like this? This is the kind of shit you see on Twitter with like a bad English associated with it, with a send bobs and bitch lasagna, please. Vagina look good with penis and stuff like that. It's a creepy message. Any girl should respond with a question mark or nothing at all. But anyway, my spirits weren't deterred. I continued. Yeah, I'm in the hospital and just said, fuck it. It's worth a try. You probably don't think the same. You probably don't think the same about me, but I just wanted to say that. That's some nice guy shit right there. Jesus Christ. Well, this is pretty fucking bad. Let's keep going. To that she says, oh, I'm sorry, frowny face, but thanks, I guess. Why are you in the hospital? I'm surprised she even believed I was in the hospital, to be honest. You got a fucking stranger coming at you, pretending like he's going off to war and sending a love letter out there like it's some goddamn type of anime. If someone sent me shit like this, I'd be like, yeah, sure, buddy. I'm sure you're in the hospital. What do you have? Small dick syndrome going on? There's no cure. Get out of my DMs. I have recurrent pneumothorax in my left lung. It has collapsed 3 times, and tomorrow I have surgery to repair it. Sad violins playing, I'm sure, when I was typing this. I just wanted to tell you that before I had the surgery. I know that it is... Excuse me, I've got to scroll to the next one. Oh, it's a little out of order. 2019 Charlie clearly doesn't know how to fucking screenshot things in order. Oh, here we go. I know that it is a weird way to start a conversation. I also know that I came on way too strong telling you that. Self-awareness, key. Key! Even back then I had it. Even back then I'm like, Jesus, I'm sounding really fucking weird, but I'm still going for it. Didn't stop me. Should have stopped me, to be honest. Yeah, that's the lesson to take away here. Don't do this. You know, at this, when you're starting to recognize, like, holy shit, this is too strong and I'm being very weird, just stop. Then she says something very odd. On behalf of all the YouTube comments, Charles, I hope you cut your hair. I'm not cutting my hair. She didn't say that. I'm just telling you, stop telling me to fucking cut my hair. I want to see what it looks like real long. I want to look like a goddamn lead singer in a mid-2000s emo band. Just let me fucking have this, alright? So anyway, she asked about the surgery and shit. Nothing to talk about there. But then, as we're starting to wrap up, I say, just wondering, do you know who I am? If you don't, I bet this is the most fucked up conversation you've ever been a part of. I mean, yeah, that's definitely a fucked up way of going about things, past Charles. Jesus Christ. I sound like some type of spoiled rich kid. Do you know who my father is? He invented Bing. I'm a big deal. Please, please love me, please. God damn it. I'm in the hospital. For God's sakes, do you know who I am? God, these are such embarrassing messages. She says, haha, no, I do know who you are. Like, I've seen you, but that's it. Yeah, I mean, yeah, that sounds about right. I was a very odd guy. Odd looking, too. I had this really weird my hair looks like shit now, but back then I had an even weirder hairstyle where I shaved all, like, the side, the back, and the top of my head, like it was a one with the clippers, but the front was about as long as it is now. So everything was pretty shaven except the bangs. So yeah, I was a fucking lunatic. It'd be hard to forget it'd be hard not to see me and make fun of me. I was one step shy of like a trench coat fedora wearing fucking loser in high school. I really was. So yeah, it makes sense that she at least remembered what I looked like, because I looked like a goddamn fucking psychopath. So to that I said, oh, sorry, I bet this is weird for you, huh? The only way to make things like this not weird is to keep saying, yeah, this is probably weird, right? That way it's, it takes the tension off. It's like, oh, he's saying it's weird. It can't be weird if he keeps talking about how weird it is. All right, it makes sense. Like, pretty much every fucking line I say in here is about how weird it is, and yet I keep going. To that she says, I don't mind at all. So then in closing, this is my finisher. This is my Mortal Kombat fatality, my big grand finale here. All right, cool. Maybe when I get out of here, we can talk more so I can get to know you a little better. I'm not as weird as this conversation makes me seem. You know. Little pro tip to the ladies: don't take someone up on that offer. They most likely are pretty fucking socially inept. I certainly was, 100%. We never talked after this. I can't imagine why, but we never spoke or anything. Nothing ever came of this, unsurprisingly. However, I'm sure if we did, I would have been still just as socially inept talking in person as I was on the Facebook Messenger. So the lesson, ladies and gentlemen, don't be weird. That's always the advice I give to someone going into college and shit. Just don't be weird. Don't be super forward. Don't be super out there. Just be normal conversations. Let things, simmer, develop, sniff things out. Don't just come in there guns blazing, fucking jerking off. I love you. Do you love me? Like, come on. Come on, 2011 Charlie. I look back on shit like this and I'm like, Jesus Christ. I never recognized how bad I was until, you get older. So, it's a pretty embarrassing story. Maybe it's not as embarrassing for listening to it, but for me, recollecting on this, it's fucking bad, man. Like, Jesus Christ. That girl was probably scared for her fucking life, thinking I'd be tossing pebbles at her window late at night at like 2 a.m. Hey, did you think about me in the hospital? I'm alright now. You want to talk? Shit, man. Well, that's the end of the story. Another nice tale for the compendium of awful interactions I've had with women, all of which being my fault, from my past. So, yeah, fuck yeah. That's it. See ya. Last night I had a little trouble falling asleep. I think what I needed was a good bedtime story. So I turned to Reddit, just cruising around, perusing, see if I could find anything that'd give me the yawns and help me go night-night. But I found something extraordinary. Something so stimulating I stopped any attempt at going to sleep, and I just sat there bewildered by what I had just read. For at least 40 minutes, I just sat in silence, truly stunned, like a child who had just watched his first episode of Chris Angel's Mind Freak. My brain was blown out my ass. I couldn't imagine a world where this was real, but all of the evidence pointed to it being a genuinely true story. I did eventually hit the hay, and now, a full 9 hours later, I'm still thinking about this, so I figured, why not share it with all of you? Perhaps this will have a profound effect on your life, or maybe it'll do something to help motivate you to not be like the guy in this story. It's a series of text messages between a man and a woman. And that's all I'll tell you for now. I don't want to get in any spoilers. I want you to come into this as unsuspecting as possible. Let's dive in. Previously on Dragon Ball Z, the two people in this text conversation were close friends for about 9 years. The Reddit poster is the woman in this story, and her male friend here had recently professed his love for her in a pretty creepy way. The feeling wasn't mutual, so it led to a bit of a disconnect between the two of them, and in an act of desperation, the male friend calls in the cringe artillery and starts bombarding her with memes, to which she finally responds, "Hey, I appreciate the memes." Real quick, I'd like to come in here with a PSA. I recognize that in the current climate of things, there's a lot of people that have lived their entire lives online without any actual social interaction, so I want this to be a teachable moment. Don't send memes as some kind of last-ditch Hail Mary. Like, if you let something rip and it's not reciprocated, spamming memes isn't going to salvage the situation, it's only going to make it worse and even weirder. Her saying, "I appreciate the memes," is just a lie. No one's ever going to say that. Those words have probably not left the human being's mouth ever. Good morrow, sailor. I really appreciate the exquisite memes you've shared with me today. I was a little perturbed with our last conversation, but now that you've sent 1,000 memes, I see you've got a good heart. Thank you for this. And I'm speaking from experience here. I'm very knowledgeable in this field. I'm the authority on this matter. I've told this story before, but I'll just briefly repeat it. The very first girl I was ever flirting with and exchanging text messages with was back in high school, and she did not feel the same way about me as I did her. And in my weakest moments, I turned to the dark side and consulted the Sith Lords, and was advised to try and maybe send goofy memes and ASCII art, because that was big back in the day. So I did. And guess what? It didn't fucking solve anything. It just made it even worse. I know how uncomfortable that must have been for her. So yeah, that is not the right play, to just start spamming memes and shit. But anyway, she continues the message by saying that she's only ever thought of him as a close friend and never really viewed him in a romantic way. So when he professed her love, it made things a little weird. They grew distant, they grew a bit hostile, but she thinks they can be friends again just as long as it's very clear that there is no romantic feelings in this relationship. She's just laying down the brass tacks and making things very clear, to which he responds, "I certainly had my head on backwards, but as my friend, I really think you're fucking adorable, and every trip I've ever taken with you is so fucking precious. I've heard of a Japanese word called shibumi, and it's basically authority without dominance. Call me a simp, but I really think you have that." Code red, he's not taking no for an answer. Jinkies, we're going too deep. He just busted out shibumi. Jesus Christ, we're in the in-game now. Lord help us. He continues to spaghetti dump here for the novel that he's writing her. There's steam coming off of the touchscreen pad as he's writing. The most important takeaway here is a very specific line, a buzzword that gets dropped that I think is very important that we highlight. He says, "Sometimes it feels like my chivalrous interest with you is underappreciated or just unappreciated sometimes." The reason I point that out is because I'm pretty confident that the word chivalry is used exclusively by creeps. I don't think there's been a documented case of a normal person saying chivalry, especially not in this context. It's just like an immediate red flag word to drop, especially when saying that my chivalrous interest is underappreciated, it's not valued enough. It's just some certified weirdo Redditor energy. Like, tip in the hat, m'lady. It's no problem, you're welcome for holding the door open for you. Chivalry isn't dead, am I right? I'm the perfect example. No, of course, I'm just kidding. I jest. Chivalry can't die, because to die, it would imply that it was ever alive in the first place. Only a living thing can experience death, and chivalry is not a living thing. It's an idea, more of a social code, per se. He continues on, and then eventually tells her that she should like one of them so he doesn't feel crazy, to which she says, "You're not crazy, I just need some time to think." Which I think is a perfectly reasonable response to all of this, but he gives her no time to think and immediately just comes back to, "Please, please, let me find favor in your eyes." I'm assuming he heard that in some kind of like indie song at some point, so he tried to throw that in here to see if it'd work. So he's going full-blown Robert Frost now, even then drops a picture saying, "Daydream with me," and it's like the sun rising. So it's getting very emotional in here. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because it's him once again just begging for any kind of reciprocation, to which she just keeps saying she just needs some time to process all of this. But he's extremely impatient. His foot is fully on the gas and there's no turning back now. He is full throttle invested in all of this. He's using every possible cliche line imaginable, but he's not finding any favor in her eyes. It just keeps going. "You're valid. Never really heard the extent of why I'm your friend." So now he's like interrogating her. "Why am I your buddy? Why am I your pal, huh? Tell me." "I could tell you all day why you're my friend. Your voice is fucking music. I think you're brilliant. Just a brilliant person to be around. Really wish I could hug you. Fuck. This hurts." And again, she reiterates, "I need time to think. I will reach out when I'm ready." And now we've finally gotten past the introduction here and we're entering the climax. Welcome to the wacky zone. He once again gives her no time to like reach out or process any of this. He reaches out pretty soon after everything, only a couple of days, and says, "So like, is there any chance as your friend I could send you something explicit?" She says, "What do you mean?" And then he goes, "NSFW," which I'm sure all of you know what that means, but I'll break it down anyway. Not safe for work. Of course, she wasn't expecting this curveball, so she says, "Are you trying to make a joke right now?" And then he goes, "No, kind of a gamble." I will say this is a historic moment. You are witnessing the worst gamble in history. Congratulations, we all got to be a part of this. This is, by far, the absolute worst possible fucking gamble you could ever make. This is like betting 100% of your life savings on me getting taller. Like, what the fuck are you, like, I don't understand how you think an out-of-nowhere nudie is going to somehow win her over and, like, somehow solve all of these problems. I just can't even understand that mindset, really. It just doesn't compute. Like, okay, I tried all the lovey-dovey, really mushy-gushy stuff with the favor in your eyes, your voice is like magic or music. It didn't work. So let's try something a little more primal. Wiener. What about penis? Eureka! This might be the answer. Let's try it. She's once again just trying to make sure she fully understands the lunacy going on here, so she says, "Are you asking me if you can send me something sexually explicit?" Respectfully. What a gentleman. A fedora tip to you, my gentle sir. That is sophisticated. Very respectful. Milady, doth thou wish to gaze upon my meat? And then he sends her a dick pic with his pinky out while holding it. An incredibly interesting play here, as if somehow his cock was going to hypnotize her and make her fall in love with him. So she eventually responds by pointing out how weird this whole interaction has become. She still only ever viewed them as friends and will only ever view him as a friend, and that she's very disappointed that he can't even respect that she wants some time to herself to process this entire weird interaction. She also drops a bombshell at the end by mentioning that she's currently in a relationship, so that was a big plot twist. This goober is doing all of this to a girl who is not interested and also in a relationship. The odds couldn't be more against him. Now, she used a word at the end that's about to change the entire course of this interaction. She said, "It sucked when you went all incel on me towards the end." That word, I had a big voice crack there, that's how powerful that word is. That one word ruffled this guy's feathers so much. You're about to see a full-blown ballistic breakdown from it. I respect that. Also, if I'm an incel, you're toxic, so let's not name call. She's toxic because she doesn't want to fuck him. Why is that even in your argument, that I can't get someone? I can. You choose not to. That's fair, but you didn't get to call me an incel because you decline. You go out of your way to say it. Why is that? Label me as anything else, like for real. It's foolish for you to argue something like that. She gets taken off guard here, saying like, hey, whoa, pump the brakes, Buster. I didn't mean to offend you. She says, I never said you couldn't get someone. What do you mean? She never said that. Like, he is now just projecting some insecurities and reading between the lines on shit that doesn't exist. She just said his behavior was that of like an incel or something. And he keeps going. You should know I'm anything but a little dick incel, so out of here with that shit. Again, she never even pointed out your penis or anything. She didn't call it small. Like, where is this coming from? He's fighting ghosts. I'm not even gonna pretend that's valid. You're with a fucking beta cuck to begin with. Maybe that's your type, and maybe that's why we aren't together. Have fun with that. The mask has come off. He is unchained, unhinged, and unhappy. Your boyfriend's a beta cuck loser. That's the only reason you and I aren't together, because that's what you're into, beta cucks. You couldn't handle an alpha male testosterone titan like me, a real man who cries while he texts. She then goes on to say, like, look, if you find me to be toxic and all of this awful stuff, like, okay, then, you know, you shouldn't be upset that we're not close anymore. And to this big message, he just responds by saying, I'll see you in hell. And then she says r/nice guys, which this very much is an r/nice guys moment. You know, keep in mind, this is still, like, only a couple days after the whole poetic, allow me to find favor in your eyes, miss. Your voice is music, sweet music. And now it's, what an excellent take on a 7-year waste of my fucking time. To which she responds, so you're just waiting around until I'd eventually date you? That's on you, man. She's absolutely right. That is entirely on you. This dude played the long game, almost an entire decade of pretending to be her friend in the hopes that eventually you'll get to fuck her. I guess was the plan. That is a long commitment to a deep cover operation to stay in disguise, faking friendship, hoping that eventually you'll be able to have sex with her. Then he says, how was I supposed to know you're only interested in half men? I've never even seen that term used before. This guy's pulling all kinds of Insano-style phrases out of his ass now. I spent 7 years just waiting for you to notice the difference, but I guess I bet on the wrong fucking horse. This goober spent 7 years pretending to be her friend, hoping that somehow she'd fall in love with him? This is craziness. This is a longer time spent undercover than Rob Lucci and the gang during the Water 7 arc of One Piece. Like, this is outrageous how long he committed to this ridiculous, diabolical plan. And now he's just full anime villain mode. I'm over you. That's why I asked if you needed a visual definition of the word endowed, because I bet you're never going to get that with the life you choose to live without me. Motherfucker, I grew this dick for you, you ungrateful clod. We have to pause here for a moment. Wow. I grew this dick for you, you ungrateful clod. That is one of the most powerful sentences I've ever had the pleasure of reading. What does that even mean? That's not even possible. How could you have grown your penis for her? Was there no dick there to begin with, and then you just started, like planting the seeds and then taking care of it like summertime gardening? Like, what does that mean, you grew it for her? Is it a laboratory experiment like the Cybermen? Like, I don't understand. It's just such a bafflingly amazing sentence. She's also stunned, saying, I refuse to believe that these messages aren't satire. And then that sets him off even further. This entire relationship is satire. A joke. Your interest in men is a joke. The wambulance is coming in hot. He's Squidward, you're Squidward, I'm Squidward, we're all Squidward. This whole relationship's satire, it's all a joke, you're a joke. Fuck you. My interest in you is a joke. This is the first time I wanted to show someone my dick because I hate them. Fucking brilliant. r/nice guys, these nuts. She waits a while and then says, I think enough time has passed and I just genuinely want to know if you've had any remorse for the shit you said to me or if you truly believe it was all valid. And then he responds 7 hours later saying, let's find out if you're still seeing the Hat Man first. I don't know what that means, but then he comes back 2 hours later and said, I'm over you. You're wasting your time. So he's trying to flip this around on her like, you missed your opportunity with the golden goose. You missed your opportunity with the alpha. I've moved on, you harpy. I don't need you anymore, harlot. Listen, I've matured a lot. You clearly haven't. So you're wasting your time trying to talk to me now. You had your chance, you blew it. I'm sure you're kicking yourself now for this, but hey, that's the way the cookie crumbles. But then just to finish it off with the cherry on top, he quotes from before where he was offering to show her his wiener and says, I still mean this if you need clarification. And then comes back and says, except don't even bother asking for nudes. I have a girlfriend. Okay. I mean, this is quite the ride. What an adventure. She eventually just says, what's wrong with you? We were friends for almost a decade. And then you go into this shit. Which is a reasonable response. Like, how did this happen? We have been friends for like 10 years. We've known each other for so long. Where did this come from? It is crazy. This whole situation was wild. And also, I'm calling fiddlesticks on that last statement from him. I don't believe he has a girlfriend. If we go back to like chapter 7 of this meltdown, he said that she was the first girl he wanted to show his penis to. So, I'm under the impression he's a virgin. And I don't think enough time has passed between those messages and these that he would not only lose his virginity, but then also have a girlfriend, especially given all of the behavior we're seeing exhibited here. So, I think he lied about that. That was probably just once again some kind of Hail Mary to make her jealous. Like, hey, listen, Toots. Got a girlfriend. Stay off of me. Can't send you nudes anymore. You blew it. Nope, can't do it. Sorry. That's on you. You'll regret this for the rest of your life, clearly. Sorry. Have a girlfriend. Even though it's most likely a lie. But yeah, that's all there is to the story here. Overall, I think we can all agree that nice guys really do finish last. It is insulting that these two didn't end up getting married. This guy is a real catch, and it's just a shame to see that it didn't pan out. But yeah, overall, dropping the sarcasm, I actually feel really bad for the woman in this situation here. This is someone who was a close friend to her for a fucking decade, only to then find out that that close friend was actually just a complete piece of shit, loser, degenerate, who was only being her friend, trying to have sex with her down the line. I can't even imagine that kind of betrayal. That must have been fucking awful. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to share this because I've been thinking about it like all day. So yeah, that's really about it. So yeah. I'm actually fucking fuming right now. You probably can't tell because trying to read my emotions is like trying to read hieroglyphics, but take my word for it. I'm more upset than Dan Bilzerian finding out about taxes. I'm genuinely fucking livid. Let me explain why I'm so mad. Yesterday, I covered the very disturbing topic of the animal abuse community on YouTube, all kind of fostered because of YouTube's reluctance to ban an account called Pollution Entertainment that was notorious for murdering his cats on camera and making videos torturing them posted onto YouTube. I'd like to add he never got a strike for any of those videos. Those videos were never even removed by YouTube. He deleted them himself. And even though authorities were involved and mainstream media picked it up and the entire platform rallied against Pollution, begging YouTube to take action, to this day, 2 years later, his account is still up. And yesterday I talked about that and the consequence of leaving that account up. And it's that he's inspired an entire community of animal abusers to murder their cats on YouTube and post videos of it. It spawned an entire trend. And it's disturbing, it's sad, it's despicable, it's fucking sickening, and YouTube should lose sleep over it, but they won't because they're still just going to have wet dreams about this algorithm that somehow they believe keeps them safe and is benevolent, doing a great job, even though it is beyond flawed and rarely ever gets anything right. As a little update to the video I made yesterday, one of the accounts I showed, Angela Alvarez, has been terminated, so that's some good news, at least one of them's down. It's absolutely fucking deplorable, and I'm only scratching the surface. There's another massive trend with channels that have hundreds of thousands of subs where they pretend they're rescuing animals from, like, truck tires. There's one big one in particular. A channel will put puppies and dogs under truck tires, run over the dogs a little bit while the dog's screaming. They'll turn on the camera, run over, and rescue it for the sake of their YouTube views. It's fucking disgusting. disgusting stuff, and it's pretty clear that they put the animals in these positions to rescue them. They'll throw them in snakes and be like, holy shit, get these snakes off, we're trying to save a dog, look how great this is, thumbs up, don't forget. They don't, these channels don't even do a good job of making it seem like they're actually rescuing animals. They'll have a video like, holy shit, this German Shepherd puppy tried to hang itself in my basement. They'll have the fucking dog in a noose and be like, holy shit, get down from there, what are you thinking, suicide's not the answer. And then take the dog down, the dog's really in fucking rough shape because of this, and then they'll try and make it be some kind of happy, uplifting video, even though it's clear that these people are evil. YouTube has basically become live leak for animals. There's just so much terrible shit in regards to hurting animals on the platform, and I just don't understand why YouTube keeps turning a blind eye to it, it feels like, because they still haven't even addressed the pollution thing. I really just don't get YouTube's priorities. They are so quick to ban a channel like Leafy is here because he made too many Pokemon videos, but they will take their sweet fucking time in actually addressing real crimes like child abuse. And you remember Daddy05, the family that was abusing their children for views and subscribers on YouTube for a long time? Authorities had to fucking like beg YouTube to do something about it before they actually finally acted on it. They just seem to be so reluctant to actually address real crimes and problems like animal abuse and child abuse. It really feels like they just don't give a fuck. At least not about things that matter. So a few days ago, almost a week ago now, one of my videos was taken down called Road Rager Learns a Hard Lesson. It's a fake staged video in a Russian dashcam where a man gets out of his car, bangs on a van's window, and then SpongeBob, Mickey Mouse, the squirrel from Ice Age, and some purple ass-beating elephant cartoon character all get out of the van, it's mascots, and then they get into a little fight and then run away, and that's the end of the video. I was just making jokes about it, and YouTube removed it for violent and graphic content. In what is clearly a staged, viral YouTube video that 5 years ago was huge, there are still dozens, if not hundreds of uploads of the exact same video still on YouTube with no issue, and people talking about it with no issue. For some reason, they have decided to target mine. And okay, it's happened in the past, I understand mistakes happen, so I appealed it. Well, within 2 days, it was rejected. Okay, so I take it up the ladder. As I've mentioned before with my company, Human Media Group, we actually work very closely with YouTube and have had nothing but a positive relationship with them. The partnership division is great. My YouTube partner contact has been absolutely wonderful. The sports and entertainment department at YouTube we work very closely with at Human Media Group has been fucking great. But when I took this to them, this is out of their hands. This is not any of their departments. This goes to some fucking rogue syndicate Illuminati shadow splinter cell division that I guess they just lock in cells or trap in dark cages for decades until they lose touch with humanity and they treat them like zoo animals, because this department is so disconnected from the most basic understanding of human concepts. They believed my road rage video was genuine, shocking, disgusting, and overwhelmingly disturbing to the point that it needed to be removed from the platform. Which is fucking weird that they felt that way about a staged road rage video, but don't feel that for videos where their animals are being brutally murdered by baseball bats and blood and guts are flying all over the fucking place, even in the thumbnail. It's weird that they feel that for a fake road rage incident where SpongeBob is throwing a few slaps to a man. It's unbelievable to me. Now, again, I mentioned the great departments we work with at YouTube. In fact, I'd argue the majority of YouTube genuinely does care from behind the scenes. I think a lot of the departments are really on the side of creators and want to make it better. But there is a few groups like this one in particular that just completely ruin it and ruin YouTube's reputation and image as a result of it. Now, all of these departments are really isolated from one another, so everyone I've talked to at YouTube doesn't have like a direct means of communication with this manual review team. They only talk through emails or like pigeon carriers. I really don't even know. They don't have a way of actually having a one-on-one communication conversation or anything except through email. Which right away represents a problem. When everyone's not on the same page or the same team with the same understanding of what is and isn't allowed, that's already a problem. If they're not easily accessible and you can only talk to them through email, that's not good. Everyone I talked to didn't agree with this decision that they've made here. And I'm not even convinced that this manual review team has actual human beings on it. Maybe I've watched too many conspiracy theories, so I got a big old tinfoil condom now. But I really feel like it's some kind of AI, just another algorithm or some kind of fucking neural network looking at these things and making these decisions. Me even go one step further, maybe they're deep faking Keanu Reeves' face on the body of a mannequin at the office to trick people into thinking there's a human being working in this department. I really don't know, because it would take an actual human being only one watch of my video to recognize that the video is fake and it's not intended to be shocking or disgusting. It's just meant for jokes. In the video, none of the punches even connect. All the punches are pulled, all the kicks are pulled. This is actually what it looks like in drama club when you're simulating a fight. The video is a staged stunt, and it takes a human being only one watch of the video to recognize that, even if you don't look into it, which you can, and find that it's fake. It's unbelievable to me that they would not only maintain this decision, but say that this is such an extreme case of shocking and disgusting content that it needed to be removed, and I needed to be punished with a strike on my channel for it. The way they make it sound makes it feel like I'd have a better chance of getting in contact with this team if I wrote my problem on a fucking rock and threw it as hard as I could out my window. Maybe then they'd actually see the problem. Every department I've talked to has no direct means of communication with them, and I'm talking heads of these departments have no way of getting in fucking contact with this fucking group here. You know how alarming that is? They actually shared with me the message they sent in regards to the road rage video they took down. It's 2 lines. It is one line that says, "We are maintaining our decision to keep the video down," and the second line is a copy and paste of the rules regarding shocking content that's taken right off the Google help page. That's it. There's no conversation. There's no proof that a human being even wrote that email. It is literally looking like an automated reply. That is what they sent to a fucking head of one of these departments who tried to get in contact and fix this issue. That is a problem. In an act of desperation, I did what any sad Boy Scout would do. I tweeted at YouTube. I gave it a whirl to see what that would do. And they responded saying they'd look into it and thanks for my patience. And you know what? I don't expect the answer to change. In fact, I'm so confident it won't that I've already made this before they give me their final answer. And I imagine by the time I upload this, they will have already said on Twitter publicly that the video violates their policy and that I should review their terms of service or something similar to that effect. I've never done this shit before, but I really think YouTube needs to answer for what is going on with this manual review team. There is so much bullshit and so much that doesn't make sense. Why won't they ban animal abuse like Pollution Entertainment's channel? Why are they allowing that to persist and allow these videos of animal abuse to get hundreds of thousands of subscribers and views across their platform? What is wrong with their manual review department where they view a clearly staged road rage incident as some kind of shocking, disturbing video, despite the fact that there's hundreds of other videos of the exact same incident that don't have a problem? There are so many things that I think YouTube needs to change. So for the first time in my life, I actually do think a hashtag does need to be trending. Maybe they'll listen to that. I don't know if they ever have in the past because I don't really pay attention to Twitter hashtags, but I was hoping if something like hashtag answer us YouTube could get trending, maybe then they'd pay attention, because it seems like the only way to ever even get contact with YouTube for most people is through Twitter by adding them at Team YouTube. So maybe they do pay attention to Twitter, and I would love if they would at least listen. I think I can speak for most people when I say we want some fucking answers from YouTube. Why won't they ban an account like Pollution Entertainment that would adopt cats just to murder them on his YouTube channel? Why is that still up? Why don't they have a problem with animal abuse, but they'll ban other channels for much more innocent content at the drop of a hat? What is going on with the manual review team? Why is every department so isolated from each other where it seems like nobody at YouTube is on the same fucking page? We want some goddamn answers, so I would love to see if hashtag answer us YouTube could do anything. I doubt it. YouTube has become an absolute virtuoso when it comes to ignoring everyone. So I guarantee even if every fucking world leader came together to ask YouTube a question, they'd put their fingers in their fucking ears and just pretend they didn't hear it. But maybe hashtag answer us YouTube could do something good, maybe. But overall, I just wanted to rant. I wanted to vent because this shit is just so frustrating. That's it. See ya. Today I want to show you something that will undoubtedly scare you, have you trembling in fear, wetting your britches. And no, it's not a picture of me without a beard, but it is something equally as terrifying. AI! AI technology is advancing at a rapid rate, and it's reaching levels only thought possible in science fiction. That experience you just had of your heart sinking from my masterclass in jump scares is the natural reaction to AI. It's showcased that the flesh is cringe and machines of the future. Pretty much anything humans can do, technology can do better. AI can do better, rather. And that includes entertainment. I have been glued to AI and the entire industry that's bloomed from it for years now. I have been like a moth to a flame, following each and every development and new AI product that's come out, because it is fascinating and at the same time a bit startling. Now, I think it's naive for people to write off all AI as evil and saying we should ban AI outright and never pursue it. I think that is such a dogshit way of looking at the technology. As with every new innovation, there is good and bad that comes with it. It's some certified goofy goober goofball shit to just write off all of the good things AI can do for humanity and focus instead on only the bad things they can do. I'm not here to get into the nitty gritty of like the pros and cons of AI. I feel like you should be able to immediately recognize some of the incredible things AI can offer, especially in the medical field. But again, that's not what today's topic is. Today I want to show you and talk about a viral clip on Twitter that's going around that has to deal with AI in the music industry.
You might notice that I sound like Kanye West. No, Yeezy didn't record a voiceover for me for this video. I didn't learn how to do impressions. This is AI.
So let me come back to my original voice for a second because this is crazy.
The caption of this video says that it'll change the music industry forever, and that's 100% accurate. This technology will forever change the entire landscape of the music industry. It's important to realize that AI technology, especially when it comes to voice models like this, are still very new. And they're already advancing to a point where they're starting to get pretty goddamn convincing. And right now the main usage is just shit posts like having Joe Biden and Donald Trump playing Overwatch together and experiencing gamer rage and shit, or making goofy AI generated tracks. But this technology has huge implications for the whole industry going forward when it comes to music. And it's already advancing very quickly. I made a brief mention of my own AI voice that's been getting used on YouTube pretty often about like 3 months ago, where they had me singing Rap God. And I was like, damn, that sounds pretty good, but you can easily tell that it's AI at some points because words get all mumbled and jumbled. It sounds like I'm overdosing on Xanax sometimes. Like, it's clear that it's not perfect, but it can and most likely will be in a relatively short period of time. So in this example with his Yay voice filter, you can tell that something's a bit awry there. It doesn't really sound 100% accurate. It sounds a bit glitchy, like something's wrong there. So you can tell it's not actually Ye speaking. And he also goes 10 seconds without mentioning Jewish people, so you know for sure it's not actually Ye. But if you're just hearing that, you'd be raising an eyebrow. Like, you would have to second guess, like, oh, whoa, was that actually Ye?
Now all you have to do is record reference vocals and replace it with a trained model of any musician you like, which is exactly what I did. I found this Kanye style beat on YouTube. I wrote 8 bars and I'm gonna record them now, and then I'm gonna have AI Kanye replace me.
So before showing you the results of that, I would like to mention that he did covers of popular songs with this Kanye voice model, and they sound very convincing. Even knowing it's AI, it is pretty fucking convincing. Now, how this affects the music industry should be obvious, and he explains it there. You don't really need the artist to come in and do full songs anymore, and they don't even have to write the music themselves or perform it. They can just give you reference vocals, and right now, there's services where if you just have a minute of uninterrupted audio from anyone, it can make and train a pretty decent AI model on it that sounds pretty good. Now, imagine that extended to a professional level where, holy shit, it's going to sound very close to the real artist. That's alarming. You'll never know if the music you're hearing was actually created by humans or just AI. AI is actually extremely good at creating songs themselves. There's entire channels dedicated to just AI-generated music, and it can do pretty much every genre. And that even includes, like, metal. There's actually some pretty fucking hardcore AI-generated metal tracks out there right now. So, for the music industry, you could have AI make all of the songs and only rely on reference vocals. So you wouldn't even need to, like, pay an artist to perform or make an album. You would just pay an artist to come into the studio one time, or maybe even a handful of times if you really want, like, a perfect model, to record these reference audio samples, and then they would just use that forever to make full albums based on that. And that artist would never actually make the songs themselves. They'd just kind of be the face of it. Meanwhile, AI is doing all of it. And not to sound like a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist, but I really do think this will end up being the reality of the music industry in the future, because it'll just end up being cheaper, like more financially viable for these major labels. Instead of hiring like bands or artists to make the music and perform it, they'll just save money by having AI do all of it and then just using the voice models they've trained. Because as this technology continues to develop, it's going to be easier to use and cheaper as well. So that's just my bold prediction here.
I got a fantasy that's beautiful, that's dark and twisted, but I attacked the whole religion all because of my ignorance. What was I thinking? That was some bitch shit. I lost Adidas, but I'm still Yeezy. Back in the kitchen, man, I'm a genius. Boys in the hood, just like I'm easy. Kanye, Weezy, Southside of Chicago, life ain't easy. All praise be to Lord Jesus, Donda, please rest easy.
I got a fantasy that's beautiful, that's dark and twisted, but I attacked the whole religion all because of my ignorance. What was I thinking? That was some bitch shit. I lost Adidas, but I'm still Yeezy. Back in the kitchen, man, I'm a genius. Boys in the hood, just like I'm easy. Kanye, Weezy, Southside of Chicago, life ain't easy. All praise be to Lord Jesus, Donda, please rest easy. Alright, let me cut it there.
Pretty spooky stuff, and I think it's understandable. A lot of people on Twitter were pretty unsettled by it. And I also agree with quite a few people on Twitter that pointed out that it's pretty diabolical to put a bar about Ye's deceased mother in here and then have AI Ye rap it for you. I think that's pretty weird. But it does lead me to something else I'd like to briefly mention, even though it's not directly related to the AI in the music industry per se. It is just AI voice models in general. I've talked about this a lot, but going forward, as these continue to become better and better, you can have these AI models say anything. So pretty soon, when you hear like audio recordings that are leaked of politicians or movie stars or something, you're going to have to take all of that with a grain of salt, because pretty soon all of that's going to be very easily faked. I actually made a video showcasing some AI voice models for Obi-Wan Kenobi, for example, where he was talking about Ahsoka's orange pussy and how she was one of the finest meat Jedis, meat saber wielder Jedis in the entire temple and stuff like that. Like, it'd be very easy to just have these AI models say anything to try and get people in trouble or try and start shit online. Like, it could go easily beyond shit posting where it's just like jokes to a point where, you can really kind of fuck someone with it.
And keep in mind, this is the worst that AI will ever be. In just a few years, basically every popular musician will have multiple trained models of them. And also the UI, the front end of this, is all going to get a lot simpler.
Again, he's 100% right. We are currently in the worst stage AI will ever be. It's only going to get better, and significantly better. It's already getting huge steps forward every couple of months. It just gets more and more mind-blowing what AI is capable of.
You're going to be listening to songs by your favorite artists that are completely indistinguishable. You're not going to know whether it's them or not. And I'm just starting to think of all the good, all the bad that's going to come out of this. I want to hear your thoughts in the comments, so drop those below.
Oh, I'll let you know what I think, all right. I'll give you a piece of my mind, and it won't be a comment. It's a whole video. I think there's not a lot of good that comes from the AI voice models in the music industry in particular. I don't see many positives. Now, I know there's people that will probably try and spin an argument that it's great because now you can have deceased artists still releasing new tracks thanks to the AI technology. So, for example, Michael Jackson already has a few AI voice models that are pretty good. So you could release new Michael Jackson tracks. But I would argue that's not a good thing. Like, that to me is kind of fucked up. He's dead. He can't consent to having new tracks come out post-mortem here. It just feels so creepy and disgusting, like fucking his corpse like a necrophiliac for the sake of making money off of new tracks from his name. It doesn't feel right. The artist is gone, and the music they made should rest with them. That's the music they poured their heart and soul in. They made that with their own blood, sweat, and tears. And to dig them up with these voice models and have them releasing tracks that they had no part in making is just, I think, wrong. I don't think that's a good thing. To me, I just really feel like that ruins and belittles all of the hard work they put into their career before they died. It just kind of dismantles the whole legacy, because then there's new tracks coming out that they didn't make and they might be shit. I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of that. Let me give you another example, one that pertains very personal to me. Linkin Park. I love Hybrid Theory and I love Meteora. Chester Bennington has passed away, unfortunately, and I would be extremely upset if they started to use AI voice models in order to have Chester Bennington deliver vocals on new Linkin Park tracks that start coming out. They have recently released 2 new tracks, but those are tracks that were actually recorded by Chester himself. So those tracks still have the very human element to it that I can appreciate. So if they, 5 years from now start releasing new Linkin Park tracks with Chester Bennington doing the vocals, I wouldn't like that. I really would feel like that'd spit in the face of all of the incredible work that he had done throughout his career. So I don't see that as a benefit, and that's like the only argument I could see people making for a good thing that can come from the AI voice models in the music industry. Everything else I think is just negatives. You'll have significantly less people entering the industry because they have to compete with all of these mega corporations that are just churning out these massive mainstream hits that are all generated through these AI voice models, from the most popular artists of all time. It'd be very difficult to compete, and most people aren't going to get signed to a label because it'd just be cheaper to use AI in the first place. So I just don't see a whole lot of benefits to the music industry for this kind of AI implementation. Now, that's not to say that I think it should be banned. I'm never really on the side of banning things, especially when it comes to stifling potential innovations. Maybe I'm just a little short-sighted in potential benefits that this technology could have. Like maybe if the artist themselves wants to start using the AI voice models to help complement their work, or even, weave it in with their own, personality inserted into it, I could see that maybe working. But again, I just don't exactly know. But overall, I don't think it should be banned, but I also don't think it offers anything super beneficial to the music industry as a listener of the music. I only see the financial benefits to the companies, which I don't really give a fuck about the companies. My heart's not breaking for Universal Music, who has billions of dollars to spend and now just can cut corners using AI technology to fuck their artists even harder. I just don't see a lot of great things with it, but I do want to highlight the technology itself because holy shit, I cannot believe how quickly all of it is advancing. This AI technology is unreal, and I can't even imagine where it's going to be in the next couple of years. So just wanted to talk about it a little bit again, and that's really about it. See ya. I know my calm, composed, stoic demeanor may not give you any clues or hints at my internal struggle, but trust me, right now, I'm spiraling. I'm falling down a dark path I swore I'd never walk again. Like a former addict who finds the pipe once again, I have found my long since abandoned drug. I have become hooked on reading horrible text messages from dudes trying to get laid again. It's been many moons, and some of you who have been around the channel for a while may remember I've made a lot of content covering horrible pickup artists as well as horrible text messages with self-proclaimed nice guys who are one gentle no away from letting the demon out and just flipping the switch to a full-blown conniption. Like, the word boyfriend would be, a Winter Soldier event that would have them just go ballistic. And I've made quite a bit of content, both laughing at the absurdity of it, as well as using it as an educational tool, like, hey, don't be like these goobers. But over time, I started kind of petering out from doing that because I just made so much of it, and I stopped indulging in that kind of content until recently. I could only fight the urge for so long. The werewolf is coming out, it's a full moon, and that moon is nothing but fucking cringe. I saw some text messages today that I've just gotta go over. Now before we embark on this journey together, it's important that I let you know that these are 2 college students. As we go through this, you'll probably assume that it's 2 13-year-olds, but that's not the case. These are 2 college students that worked on a group project together, and now we're coming in after the completion of the project. So, they say, I just emailed Professor the final draft, so we should be good. To which the poster says, yay, and then sends a meme, go team. I really enjoyed working with you. You seem like a very sweet and smart girl, and I'd love to take you out sometime. To which they say, that's very kind of you, but I have a boyfriend. Oh boy. She said the phrase, I have a boyfriend. There is no phrase more powerful in the English language than that. The strongest sentence ever constructed. That's like the nuclear bomb here. I have a boyfriend is a phrase, nay, an incantation, more powerful than Avada Kedavra from Harry Potter. And it's just been deployed. So you can already start to speculate where things are going to go south. He responds by saying, heh, well thanks for leading me on. which catches her off guard. She says, "I'm sorry, but I don't think I've done anything to imply I was interested in dating you," to which he responds, "It's just funny how you never brought up that you were taken until now." Which is an interesting thing to respond with, because that makes it seem like he expects every girl that's taken to immediately state that upon starting a conversation with a man. Like they need to wear some kind of sign or some kind of label on their forehead that says, "Currently in relationship, not available, thank you. Try again at later date." Although she does say that she mentioned her boyfriend. "Actually, I did. When I was at your house, I told you my boyfriend was picking me up." Which she's able to counter beautifully by saying, "I thought you meant a boy that you were friends with. Because why would you go over to a guy's house if you're dating someone?" And she says, "Because you offered to host and we needed somewhere to work on our project together. My boyfriend knew and didn't care because all we were doing was working. I'm sorry if I did anything to give you the wrong idea." And then he says, "You let me buy you a pizza." Now, admittedly, I understand where the guy's coming from here. We all know about the law of equivalent exchange thanks to Full Metal Alchemist, and we have something like that in the real world. If you buy a girl a pizza, she is obligated to have sex with you. It's the pussy for pizza transaction. It's as old as time itself. So the fact that he was able to buy her a pizza and he didn't get his winky stinky is shocking. But anyway, he seems to really put a lot of stock in the importance of that pizza, like that was going to carry them all the way to marriage, like this is a moment she'd remember for the rest of her life or something, that pizza that he bought her. But I'd like to backtrack a bit just briefly. Let's go to the previous chapter where he said, "I thought you meant a boy you were friends with, because why would your boyfriend be okay with you going to a guy's house to work on a project?" And I feel like that's a dogshit perspective that's not unique to just this guy in this situation. I've seen a lot right now where people work under the assumption that if your significant other is doing anything in any capacity with someone of the opposite sex, it means that they're unfaithful to you and they're cheating. But I just don't really subscribe to the belief that most normal, sane people think that way. Of course, there are extenuating circumstances to that, but in this scenario, and in most scenarios like this, where it's just she's working on a group project with a classmate, I don't know why you'd immediately jump to, "She must be a whore who's going behind my back to fuck this one goofball in her class," and pretending that they're working on a group project. I just don't think that's something most ordinary people jump to immediately, and in this case, the guy views it as weird that she ever even agreed to go to his house to work on this group project if she was in a relationship, but I just don't understand why that would be viewed as weird. Like, where else are they going to do it? Like, if they go to her place and do it, it's the same problem, right? Now, she has invited a guy over to her house and she's in a relationship to work on this group project. Wouldn't that be the same issue? Or if they go somewhere in public and do it, like a fucking Starbucks or whatever, it's still the same issue. Like, oh, now they went to a public place where people go, like, on dates sometimes to do this group project. So you can always make that argument no matter what. So just, I don't know, it just doesn't compute with me. But anyway, back to the pizza. "I offered to split when you told me you were ordering a pizza and you said it was your treat. If you'd like, I can sell you for half of the cost." "Yes, I'd like that. And you ate more of the pizza than I did, so you should pay for like 2/3 of it." Now we're getting into the nitty-gritty math calculations here. Like, well, actually, listen here, Harpy. You ate more of the pie than I did, so you're gonna need to reimburse me more for it. And you know what? It wasn't my treat, because this Halloween there was only tricks. You tricked me. You lied by not telling me that you had a boyfriend. So give me extra cash for that pizza, you disgraceful harlot. She's being as gentle as possible here. I imagine she's scared of this individual, and she said as much in the comments of the post. She said that she didn't want to, like, get too aggressive back because then she'd be, like, afraid of what he might do. So it's just, like, I understand where she's coming from. You don't want to, poke and all of that. So she's just like, okay, that's fine. And I'm sorry again if you got the wrong idea, but I thought I made it clear that I viewed this as a professional relationship. Well, you didn't. And then he comes back and says, "Don't leave me on red." So he's getting very aggressive here. He's red in the face. He's steam coming out of the ears. Like, I understand why she wants to, like, tiptoe around this as gracefully and smoothly as possible. And it's something I've said a lot on stream, where in the current climate of things, it feels like everyone's more on edge than ever. Like, I've read so many stories over the last couple of years of people snapping at the smallest things, like even the most minor inconvenience. Like, this is a story I've referenced a lot, but it's one that actually legitimately sticks with me. There was a murder at a Subway where a man shot 2 Subway workers because they went a little heavy on the mayonnaise on his sandwich. Too much mayo was a death sentence for one of the 2 workers that was shot. The other one did survive, but I mean, it's things like that where it's never really worth pushing back. So in a case like this, I understand why she'd want to be really light about it. And I just want to mention that because I saw a lot of comments like, not really grilling her or anything, but just really kind of wondering why she was being so polite in lieu of all of the aggression from this guy. And I totally understand why she would be. I really do get it. I just wanted to point that out real quick. But anyway, it wraps up by saying, I don't think this conversation is worth furthering, which is fair. And then he responds saying, it's ridiculous you even chose a guy to work with if you have a man. I bet he was upset even if he pretended not to be. Now, she explained this a little further in the comments. She didn't even choose him to be like her group project partner. Apparently the way the groups were chosen were people chose topics and whoever had similar topics worked together. So these two just happen to have the same topics. It's not like she went out of her way to choose this, benevolent angel to work with or anything. But anyway, I understand this was like a very short text exchange. It's only like 3 screenshots here. But I just think there's a whole lot to digest and analyze here. As we as a species have become more and more isolated, all of our socialization and human interaction comes from behind a computer screen now, mostly. Almost all of our interaction with each other is through the internet. So it's leading to a lot of people not knowing how to socialize or not knowing how to pick up on like social cues, and I don't even really blame individuals for that. But it's led to situations kind of like this, where this guy really views that her being off the market, having a boyfriend, should mean that she shouldn't do anything at all with another guy, even work on a class project with another man. And also, something as simple as buying a pizza shows some kind of romantic interest between the two of them, some kind of mutual romance. So when it turns out that she wasn't interested and it leads to a rejection, it's something that he doesn't know how to handle appropriately. And overall, it is just pretty sad. Yes, it is like equal parts entertaining with some cringe text messages, of course, but at the core of it, there is a problem where people aren't going out in the real world and making genuine human connections. It's all through computers. So when you are in the real world with real humans, you don't really know how to handle things super well. So something as simple as getting like a rejection is a much bigger deal than it used to be. And overall, like I said, it's just kind of sad. I wanted to just talk about these text messages because I got real deep on why. Why would this be the response to something so simple? And of course, the text messages are very silly, like with the whole fucking pizza side quest thing. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. That's it. See ya.